air, you can hear a little bit. It's not too loud, but it's Florida and it's hot, and y'all already know can't be sitting in this car hot. And my phone probably gonna overheat before we done anyway, cause I'm directly facing the sun. But what it is yo girl Cadillac. Yes, I'm Cadillac Dixon. I'm the drama life prison wife. I'm the legally blind artist that is rapping and painting for justice, helping. Because you got to hold your breath for justice, to see justice before all fades to black. Yes, it's your girl Cadillac. Anyways, guys, I'm coming through today, July 11th. 11. It was just 11. A lot. That's a lot of 11s, girl. But coming through July 11, 2025. I woke up this morning. Well, I rose this morning. Glory be to God. And one of the first things that I seen was a text from the Innocence Project. You know, I receive text messages and updates with the Innocence Project, those that they are fighting and advocating for, if the community can help spread the word and things like that. But this text is from, it was saying that Brian Boles, this is another wrongful conviction story that I did not know about. There are so many. There's too many to, once you start trying to dig for them, they're everywhere. There's so many people wrongfully incarcerated, including my husband, Marcello Jackson, who's been wrongfully incarcerated for the last 20. Can I put my backpack there? Maybe it won't, the sun won't hit directly there. And my phone won't overheat. So I do want to finish this. Girl, it's crazy how you gotta rig this up. But the last 23 plus years, my husband has been dealing with wrongful incarceration. We are down to about 10 to 11 years left of his wrongful conviction. Um, if I do not break his story and he's brought home sooner, but it's looking like I'm not going to get his story broken because I don't have the resources, platform, or the reach to be able to do so. So, what it's leaning towards is we're just going to have to outlive his wrongful conviction. Um, some people are wrongfully convicted to life and to D-roll. So I am learning that you just have to be grateful. If you have an outdate, you are truly highly blessed in a wrongful conviction. Okay, so this broke the story of Brian Boles and Charles Collins are exonerated in New York after decades. I told y'all you cannot overturn a wrongful conviction story. Like, if you do it within 10 years, that's considered a short wrongful conviction. Like, it is very difficult to get these overturned. And I do believe that wrongful convictions, my opinion, I hope that don't fall, are purposeful wrongful convictions because they follow procedures that don't work. And this is why they get the, let me just pick it up. They follow procedures and protocols. They do things a certain way that is not conducive of finding the truth. They're just trying to get the conviction. Well, you can easily convict anybody, right? Like, they can just say I did something, and whether I did it or not, and of course I didn't do it because I haven't done anything, but they will find a way to make it align, even though there's no evidence, because it wouldn't be evidence in a wrongful conviction. They'll make it stick, right? So it's more so of getting the conviction. You can convict anybody of anything. It doesn't even matter, like, being truthful, but this is just my opinion. Any crime you can attach to anybody, and it will stick, and a jury will find you guilty. But it's because of the practices. So they're just more so trying to get the convictions than to try to get the guilty party and convict the guilty party. They're just trying to close the case my opinion, for entertainment purposes. So this is why we have so many wrongful convictions, because until they reform, which reform, prison reform, criminal justice reform, I don't know why it scares people. They think it's, oh, you're letting the criminals out, you're letting the criminals free, oh, you're rewarding them for doing crime. No, it's about checking and overseeing a system that is out of control and doing what it's not supposed to do, taking the wrong people, breaking up families behind this, not even just the individual. You're breaking our whole family. I've been broken behind my husband's wrongful conviction. Our 24-year-old daughter, I'm sorry, has been broken behind her father's wrongful conviction. Right? You could have avoided that had you went by due process, the way you set up this law. We didn't set this law up. Y'all set this up. But y'all don't want to follow the rules, right? You change the rules as we're playing the game. Okay. Brian Boles and Charles Collins are exonerated in New York after decades of wrongful conviction. New DNA testing undermines the coerced confessions. That's what they do. Coercion had a role to play in my husband's wrongful conviction as well. Maybe I'll try to read this straight through, and then I'll go back and pinpoint the similarities, because I usually tie it to our experience to validate. This does happen all the time, because when you see these different articles, people are outraged. How did this happen? They need to be prosecuted to the fullest. They need to pay, but this keeps happening. It keeps happening. This is not a freak occurrence. Many people are wrongfully incarcerated, allegedly. So the outrage, you should be outraged now, because right now, before the story breaks, because you have to have reach. The reason why my husband's name isn't across a headline is because I don't have a voice. I have been trying to build a platform for over decades and have not been successful with it. I've been trying to get his story in the news. I've been giving his story to any and everybody that you can think of. That's what Project Reach the World is. But yet, his story goes nowhere. It doesn't go past my backyard. I have a few supporters, but nothing that is able to put his name on Marcello Jackson after decades of wrongful conviction in Florida is being released. I don't have that reach. I've been trying to gain it, and I'm coming to grips with the fact that I may not, achieve that. So we just have to live another couple years, and then we'll be reunited. But we still will have all that baggage that they placed in our lives to deal with after that. So his release ain't going to be everything's all scot-free. That's him starting his life over in his mid to late 50s. Establishing himself in his mid to late 50s when you snatched him. You wrongfully arrested him at 19 and took his life at 20. New York, July 10th, 2025. A Manhattan, let me increase this size. Your girl is legally blind, so. And then there's white on black. Forgive me, it's hard for me to read because of that. A Manhattan judge today vacates the conviction of Brian Boles and Charles Collins for a 1994 murder after DNA testing on fingernail evidence from the victim excluded the men as the source and pointed to another individual as a perpetrator. So you let that other individual that should have been tested way back then, you have given him a free ride to continue crime and to stay free for murking somebody. This is how our system works. You rewarded him for murking that person, and now you got to open these wounds to the family that, hey, we got the wrong one. I'm sorry. We were doing our job. We were keeping you safe, but we arrested the wrong people and put them in jail for the murking of your loved one. Honest mistake. Okay. Pointed to another individual as the perpetrator. The Honorable Ruth Pickholz, oh my gosh, Pickholz, dismissed the indictments against Mr. Boles and Mr. Collins after a joint request from prosecutors and attorneys from the Innocence Project, which Innocence Project is swamp. Y'all don't believe that people are wrongfully incarcerated. Innocence Project can't even fight all the cases. They said, please do not reach out to us. We are too, we don't have the resources, we don't have the manpower. There's too many people that we're trying to fight their cases. That many people wrongfully incarcerated. But you don't even believe my one husband is wrongfully incarcerated. That's crazy. But Innocence Project, and when they get behind a case because their resources so scarce, that person darn near is innocent. They're innocent. They're not going to fight for someone who is not innocent. Okay, who represents Mr. Boles? An attorney from Ropes and Gray, who represent Mr. Collins. Brian Boles was only a teenager when this nightmare began, said Jane Puncher, a senior staff attorney at the Innocence Project. We are grateful that the district attorney's office and the court have finally acknowledged that Mr. Boles has always maintained that he was wrongfully convicted. 3 decades. I'm telling you, it takes that long if you get it overturned. Some people have to wait out their wrongful conviction. I got a man on TikTok that told me that. I asked him, well, how did you get out your wrongful conviction? He was like, I didn't. I had to do the time, though I didn't do the crime. He lost 3 decades of his life for a crime he did not have nothing to do with. Mr. Boles was just 17 when, after 2 days of extensive questioning by police, were threatened and lied to him. He falsely confessed to the murder. He had no attorney, parent, guardian present. This confession was the only evidence against Mr. Boles. Okay, did they spell his name wrong? Because now they're saying Mr. Boles. Okay, yes, it is Brian Boles. I'm sorry, I thought it was Boles. Mr. Boles, I'm sorry. Forgive me for mispronouncing his name. Now it's stuck in my mind that I want to say Boles. I'm sorry. Boles, Boles, was just 17 when, after 2 days of extensive questioning by police who threatened and lied to him, he falsely confessed to a murder. He had no attorney, parent, or guardian present. This confession was the only evidence against Mr. Boles, who, after being found guilty at trial, went on to serve 30 years in prison before being released on parole. Florida has no parole, so no chance of that. Martello would have been up for parole a while ago, but Florida got rid of parole. And this is also why our DOC is to critical capacity. This is why they transferred my husband back up the road when he was close to home for a good adjustment transfer, because they say they need the space. It is for the space of the, because they need to be able to house people that are getting, like, he was in a reception center that's coming into prison. Well, you need that much space. Why don't you release the people that ain't supposed to be there? Why would you keep people in prison, allegedly, that should not have done one day? Pass some of these freaking bills. Pass the second look bill where we could look at these cases to see where they actually sound. Do they pass the smell test? Are they per justice now? Many things have changed since you sent these people up the road without a paddle, like my rap says. But they don't want to alleviate it. But then they want to say they need the space. And their only answer is to, let's build a megaplex prison so that we can, in turn, feel and put some more wrongfully convicted people there. Like, it's backwards ass. My opinion only, but it's backwards ass. Let these folks go. You don't have the staffing people. You can't keep staff. They can't keep staff. That's why they're having the problems. Look at Anton Massey. That's how they was getting out up there. The staff wasn't there. They can't keep the staff. It's turning over too fast. You have too many bodies in prison. You got rid of parole. Some of them people could have been aged out the system. It is said that younger people commit more of the crimes. So as you hit a certain age, you tend to commit less crimes. There are people that are rehabilitated but still never given a second chance. They don't believe in second chances at all, or the first chance, because my husband didn't even get his first chance. But this is why. This is why. 30 years in prison before being released on parole in 2024. Mr. Collins, their rap about that. This is not legal advice. This is save your advice. A plea is not about guilt or innocence. It's about how much of your time in your life can you salvage. That's what it's about. I wish my husband had took the plea. Though he's wrongfully incarcerated, his plea was 17 years. He would have been out over a decade ago had he took the plea for his wrongful conviction. If you're making him play out his wrongful 40-year conviction, heck, he might as well only did 17 wrongful years. I wish he had took the plea, but we believed in this system, and we took it through the trial because we believed in it, and we were law-abiding citizens. And this was supposed to protect us, though it neglect us. If you accused in a crime, you better take the plea. Ain't got no money, you better take the plea. Ain't got a good lawyer, you better take the plea. Hey, take that from me. You take it to trial to send you up Shit's Creek. Here's your girl Cadillac. And like I said, that's not legal advice, but that's save your advice. Fearful of also losing at trial, took a plea and served 23 years in prison before being released on parole in 2017. So this is where Marcello is, 23 years. I wish he was coming home now. He got about another decade. So he's done about how much time Marcello did. That's far. New DNA testing using technology not available at the time. And DNA is uncovering a lot of this stuff. Had they never discovered this type of technology, how many people would still be wrongfully incarcerated? So it is exponential. So for the thousands of stories you see that are broke, there's probably thousands times thousands that have never been heard and uncovered. So that means they were just closing these cases. Just close the books. Settle the score. I say it's like an accountant. Do the accountant care about the numbers they're crunching? Because they're just numbers to them. There are loved ones, there are fathers, there are husbands, but they're numbers. And the system is just crunching numbers, not humans. They don't see them as human. My opinion. Wow. New DNA testing used technology not available at the time of the initial investigation was conducted as part of a joint post-conviction reinvestigation by the Innocence Project and the New York County District Attorney's Office Post-Conviction Justice Unit, PCJU. DNA evidence found under the victim's fingernails, which likely belonged to the actual perpetrator, did not match Mr. Boles or Collins. The investigation also uncovered police reports and witness interviews, none of which were disclosed. I told y'all, the first thing they're going to do when you're accused in a crime is delete the exculpatory evidence. They give you this one-sided ass case. That at the end of presenting this one-sided ass case, the only thing you can do is find the person guilty. They take out many of the things that will prove the person's innocence, just like they deleted the surveillance cameras that could have proved my husband was not at the place that they claim he allegedly robbed somebody. You could have dismissed the whole case off of that. But you took it out because you wanted to proceed forward. And that's what they do. Exculpatory evidence is going to be the first thing gone. Inculpatory, anything that could be used against you, that could show you might have, would have, could have been you, they're going to leave in. They're going to make it grander than life. So if you really wanted true justice, you would show all sides. A case is not one side, this side, the state sides, the defendant side. No, it's a cube, it's a 3D object. It has so many different parts. You would present all of it and then let the jury come to their conclusion. If you were actually giving a fair trial, like in front of a group of your peers, like you say, allegedly. It's so much willing and dealing of it. Found under the victim's fingernails, which likely belonged to the actual perpetrator, did not match Mr. Boles or Mr. Collins. The investigation also uncovered police reports and witness interviews, none of which are disclosed to the defense, showing that the murk victim was seen alive hours after the time Mr. Boles said the crime occurred in his confession. These accounts made the timeline in Mr. Boles' statement about how and when the murk occurred impossible. All them inconsistencies. Further, the investigation uncovered a forensic report previously undisclosed to defense showing that a detective's testimony at Mr. Boles' trial, I ain't never heard this word, purporting, PURPORTING, to link Mr. Collins, we need to look that up, girl, what is purporting? Mr. Collins to a shoe print left at the crime scene was untrue. While the detective claimed at trial that Mr. Collins' shoe print matched a print left at the crime scene, the forensic so he lied during trial. Read that again. Further, the investigation uncovered a forensic report previously undisclosed to defense showing that the detective's testimony at Mr. Boles' trial purporting to link Mr. Collins to a shoe print left at the crime scene was untrue, while the detective claimed at trial that Mr. Collins' shoe print matched. And when the jury hear that, they don't even want to be there to begin with. Y'all, take jury duty. Take it seriously. You are literally affecting someone's life. But when they hear that, oh, he's guilty, let's get out of here. I want to go home. I'm not getting paid nothing for this. $15, girl, that ain't even going to cover my whole, days of work that I've missed. And it definitely ain't going to even cover my lunch from lunch break because I ate downtown, girl. While detectives claimed at trial that Mr. Collins' shoe print matched a print left at the crime scene, the forensic report stated that the print was too partial and no comparison could be made. A factual, impossible, coerced confession. On February 7, 1994, an elderly man was found beaten, gagged, and strangled with a telephone cord in his Harlem apartment in the same building where Mr. Boles was, then living with his father. Police only eyed Mr. Boles as a suspect after he and Mr. Collins were arrested for an unrelated robbery. While there, was no evidence linking Mr. Boles to the murder, detectives decided the two cases were connected. So they get their hunch and they stay with it. They don't research no further. After 2 days of intense questioning, during which he was handcuffed to a chair and sleep deprived, Mr. Bowles was repeatedly lied to, threatened, and physically and verbally abused until scared and wanted to go home. He told police that he and Mr. Collins had committed the murder. Over several more hours, police fed Mr. Bowles more details about the crime, which he then repeated back to police and result in his confession. Mr. Collins was subject to similarly coerced interrogation tactics and also falsely admitted guilt to the murder. But that statement was directly undermined by reports in the prosecutor's possession that were not disclosed to defense counsel at trial, in violation of Mr. Bowles' constitutional rights. Those reports showed that, and the reason they do this is because they are going against best practices and due process, but they know nobody's checking them, nobody's oversighting them. So, and they know how difficult it is. The chances of you getting back into court smaller than that. So, in the words of Sheree, who gonna check me, boo? That's why they do this. But the statement was directly undermined, by reports in the prosecutor's possession that were not disclosed to defense counsel at trial, in violation of Mr. Bowles' constitutional rights. Those reports showed that the Merck victim was alive for many hours after the narrow window of 12 to 1 p.m. when Mr. Bowles' statement said the crime occurred. In fact, they showed multiple neighbors interacting with and seeing the victim alive into the early evening. They also documented that the neighbors heard loud sounds and furniture being dragged in the victim's apartment around 10:30 p.m., suggesting he was outed late at night. Had these reports been disclosed to defense, they would have allowed counsel to show that the story captured in Mr. Bowles' statement was factually impossible, and thus that his confession was false. Enforced. Added enforced. Lies and deception drive false confessions. Modern social science research shows that the circumstances under which Mr. Bowles was questioned created fertile ground for a false confession. Coercive interrogation tactics combined with Mr. Bowles' youth and history of trauma made him uniquely vulnerable to giving a false confession. This happened many times. That's why they had to go back and resentence a lot of juvenile lifers. There's one guy, his name is Free After 23. He was a juvenile lifer that got resentenced, and now he is free, living his life. I believe he's a poet and a rapper, and doing wonderful things, but they took much of his life. But they had to go back and resentence a lot of people because of this overzealous, over tough on crime, and all this other BS that really is not making our community safer, my opinion. It's really making it worse. It's making the community worse because of this is why it's all connected too. This is why you, the law-abiding citizen, should care, because they're effing up your by doing this, by playing with it. It's like playing with the ecosystem, allegedly. The tactics detectives use are now known to produce false confessions, and they will still use it. Even when they find something doesn't work, they'll continue to use it. Known to produce false confessions at a high rate. They lied to Mr. Bolt repeatedly, first telling him that a neighbor seen him outside the victim's apartment, which was false, and then telling him that Mr. Collins had implicated him in the murder. which was also a lie. Mr. Collins, in fact, had told police that he and Mr. Boles had nothing to do with the murder. They put one against the other. I told you, it's like the hot potato. Get the hot potato off of you, and whoever squeals first gets the deal first, girl. Got all these sayings for this because this is my sweet spot. This is what I do, girl. Wrongful convictions. Wow. Law enforcement use force, coercive tactics, isolation, deception, as in the case, are proven to increase a person's stress and mental exhaustion, making them susceptible, I can't say that, girl, to false confess, I'm sorry. Studies show that this effort is particularly pronounced in children, juveniles, and people with intellectual disabilities. Nearly a third of wrongful convictions are the results of false confessions, and a third of those false statements are made of individuals 18 under or under at the time of arrest. The leading cause of wrongful conviction is eyewitness misidentification. They still use that to the fullest, but it's the leading cause of wrongful convictions. Second leading cause is prosecutorial. Yeah, you know, the one that's supposed to get justice. Misconduct. Mr. Boles' false confession is far from an anomaly. Thank you for saying that. Police deception has contributed to countless wrongful convictions. Thank you. It's not a one off. This happens all the time. And they will not change their practices. This is why we want reform. Not so we could let all the criminals out like they tell you, allegedly. Such as those of the Central Park Five, now known as the Exonerated Five, when police railroaded 5 BLK and Latino teens by lying and making false promises to secure false confessions for the brutal RAPE and assault of a YT jogger in 1989. All 5 were later exonerated in 2002. Law enforcement used similar methods when interrogating HUWE, so Huey Burton, who was 16 when he falsely confessed to outing his mother. Police separated Mr. Burton from his father, threatened him with additional criminal charges, and offered leniency if he confessed to the crime. Even though he soon recanted, he was convicted of second-degree murder in 1991. Mr. Burton was exonerated in 2019. Marty Tankleff presents another stark example of the devastating impact of such techniques. He was 17 when he falsely confessed in 1988 in stabbing his parents in their Long Island home. The lead detective lied to Mr. Tankleff, saying that his father named him as the attacker before he died, prompting him to confess and then immediately recant. He was incarcerated for 19 years before being exonerated. See, once this is done, they seal this up. It's going to take you forever if you get it overturned. I pray that we do get my husband's wrongful conviction case overturned, but at this point, if we can't, I do pray that we can make it through these 11 years and have some time on the outside of this gate. Before the pearly gates, girl. Since 2021, 11 states has passed bills into law to ban the use of deception during the interrogation of youth, including California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Illinois. Oh, my cousin, Dual Thomas, is actually wrongfully incarcerated, Illinois. I have a story about that, of how they were basically BATING in kicking boots to his head. to make him confess, allegedly. Indiana, Minnesota, Nevada, Oregon, Utah, and Virginia. In New York has passed a bill introducing in the state legislature that would mandate the provision of counsel for people under the age of 18 before they are questioned, ensuring that the consultation with an attorney could not be waived by them or their family, and establishing that statements obtained in violation of those requirements could not be used against them in trial. The beginning of a new chapter. It is decision today. In its decision today, the court vacated Mr. Boles and Mr. Collins' convictions and dismissed the underlying indictment. That this dismissal recognized the exonerating power of the new DNA evidence and the impact that the reports, which raised doubts about the confession, would have had a trial if they had been given to the defense. That tampering, he wouldn't have did that time most likely. And when you get paid lawyers, they actually go and get some of these things, right? That a lawyer that's afforded to you, that one BS lawyer that's afforded to you if you can't afford it, they're actually, for entertainment purposes, my opinion, are working with them to make sure those things are not never brought up. It's like, in my husband's case, it's like, are you defense or offense? What team you playing on? Like, they don't even know that they're actually supposed to be defending you, but they're allegedly working against you. That's why many times in these cases, if you pay a lawyer, you get better results. Okay, which raised doubts about the confession that they would have had at trial if they had been given to the defense. The dismissal also included charges related to the robbery incident, which was tried jointly with the Merck case, in which the prosecution argued at trial was, oh my gosh, these words, inextricably linked, noting that both men took responsibility for their actions in that robbery and that both men served the entirety of their sentences for those acts, and that there were mitigating circumstances related to the robbery that the jury could not properly consider because, and this is why the juries sometimes they think they're doing the best that they could. I have videos showing you how they basically allegedly rigged that stuff up too. Just because you hear a jury in front of your peers of 12, like, how could 12 people really be all on the same page? And you thinking that setting is going to give you fairness. I can show you how it doesn't really result in fairness because of the behind the scenes things that they do to make sure it doesn't give you a fair trial. I think most of it is to give you the illusion of justice. But behind the scenes, justice is not happening. You're getting anything but justice. You're getting injustice for justice. Okay. Noting that both men took responsibility for their actions in that robbery and that both men served the entirety of their sentences for those acts, and there were mitigating circumstances related to the robbery that the jury could not properly consider because the charges were joined. Oh, wow. So the prosecution argued the court, so they should have dismissed all of it then in that case. The court agreed that all charges should be dismissed in the interest of justice. Thank you. While incarcerated, Mr. Boles participated in the Bard College Prison Initiative, graduating in May 2025. Wow. With his bachelor's degree in sociology. He is eager to continue building his career serving marginalized communities. That's their target audience. Every business has a target audience, and that's their target audience, allegedly. Building their wealth off our backs. He is eager to continue building his career serving marginalized communities now without the heavy burden of a wrongful conviction. It is a heavy burden. Marcello's wrongful conviction has also burdened my life and his family's. You run a lot of people behind this. While incarcerated, Mr. Boles is represented by Innocence Project Senior Staff Attorney Jane Puncher and Foderaro Foderaro post-conviction litigation fellow Chabel Castro and assisted by senior paralegal Kanani Schneider. Mr. Collins is represented by Christopher Cuniff, Ethan Fitzgerald, Anisha Zaidi, and Brighty Boo of Ropes and Gray. Sorry if I mispronounce any of those names. It says, leave a reply. Thank you for visiting us. You can learn more about how we consider cases here. Please avoid sharing any personal information in the comments below and join us in making this HATE speech free and safe place for everyone. All right, so we've helped free more than 250 innocent people from prison. And though that sounds like a lot, that's a very small amount because there's so many more wrongfully incarcerated. Support our work to strengthen and advance the innocence movement. All right, guys, so I'm going to wrap this up. There's another wrongful conviction story for your ass. For all of y'all that claim I'm just lying and protecting a criminal and I just can't find nobody free and my husband shouldn't have never did what he did. Girl, there's more proof just backing my claims. It happens all the time. And the cases are so parallel. It's not a one-off. It's the practices that need to be changed. All right, guys, I'm going to go. They got a little free lunch. I'm going to take my little granddaughter up there to grab some free lunch at the library and, do whatever I got to do around the house before it's time for me to join my workshop. All right, thank you guys for rolling with your girl. It's your girl, Cadillac.